Welcome to HortTube. My name is Jim Putnam and this is a Victory Pyracantha. This is the beautiful white flowering, red berrying, evergreen shrub, Victory Pyracantha. Victory Pyracantha can actually be grown a couple different ways. It could actually be left to just grow as a shrub. You can do a little top pruning on one that you buy like this and create a thicker trunk at the bottom and actually have it grow just as a regular shrub. Most people use these against a fence or in a narrow space where they want to create some screen, but they just don't have a lot of width to work with. So if you had an existing fence, you could plant this plant up against the fence and keep it flat near the base, which is kind of how this one is on this stake right here, and then allow it to bush out above the fence and create some additional screening. If you had a 4-foot fence, you could get another 3 foot of screening above that. Ultimately, it can reach about 8 to 10 feet in height. It could get 5, 6, 7 feet wide if you let it, but it's very, very easy to just come along and shear any part of the plant that you want to keep much narrower than that. Victory Pyracantha is hardy in zones 7 to 9. Pyracantha can be very fast growing once they're established. It wouldn't surprise me if you get 2 or 3 feet of growth out of these in a single season. Although I think Pyracantha would grow almost anywhere, you definitely want to put at least 6 hours of direct sun on these to get the best flowering and best berrying out of them. Like I said, the primary use that most people use these Pyracantha for are screening or a wind or sound barrier in a spot where you have a narrow space. It just does a great job of that. It keeps its leaves in the wintertime. It's also a pretty good deterrent against anybody coming over your fence as well, because it's quite thorny. There are a lot of great features on these Pyracantha. When they first leaf out in the spring, all the new growth is kind of a burgundy color, and then it gets absolutely covered in white flowers, which eventually become these red berries in the fall. One note about the flowers is they're fragrant, and you'll frequently see them listed as fragrant. To me, it's not a great fragrance. They only last a few days, so it's not that big of a deal, but to me it's just not a very appealing fragrance. This plant had done a lot of growing after it had flowered in the spring, so that's why there's no berries up in here. Next year this thing will be absolutely covered in berries, and these berries are persistent throughout the fall and into early winter. I've included videos with planting instructions for woody trees and shrubs in the description of this video. This is a really, really rugged plant. As long as you don't plant it too deep, overbury it, just kind of love it to death, I think it'll be fine. If you're in an area that gets normal rainfall, just not a lot to worry about with these, like I say, unless you bury the thing too deep and go out and try to water it every day. After you first plant your Pyracantha, you'll want to check on it maybe once a week for watering, and then drown it if you need to, and then let it dry out between waterings. That little bit of stress between waterings actually encourages plants to look for water a little bit. Don't over stress it, but don't go out there every day and water this plant. You do significant damage if that's the way you went about watering a Pyracantha. Best to fertilize these in the late winter or early spring with some sort of slow release fertilizer. As soon as the worst of your winter is over, any kind of slow release fertilizer, something that lasts 3 to 4 months so it will run out by midsummer. You can shape up your Pyracantha anytime you need to, but just know that after the time it flowers in the spring, any place that had flowers, those are your berries, and if you're doing a lot of summer pruning on it, you're definitely going to be taking some of the berries off. I'd probably wait until fall and shape it up a little bit, or even early spring before it flushes out, because as soon as it flushes out, all the new growth will have the flowers on it, and then any pruning you do after that is definitely going to be taking berries off for the fall. You're probably not going to see many pest problems on Pyracantha. They are susceptible to aphids and a few other chewing insects, and if you get aphids in the spring and don't get them under control, you can end up with sooty mold, just like on crepe myrtles, end up with that black foliage. Pyracantha are considered very deer resistant. So what are you waiting for? I am very confident that if you live in zone 7 to 9, that you can definitely grow Victory Pyracantha. Thank you for watching my video, and if it was helpful, please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel for future videos. Thanks again.